guys on that one. We're 0.72 seconds over, Ellis informs me, so we need to keep moving along. You're going to get a lot of gifts tonight, Barbara.
Oh, so I shouldn't start trying on?
No, you can't exchange them, etc. Okay. I think her daughter said she picked them all out, so you know it's all very planned. We are going to move on to, I think it's Eleanor Cosnello. I think no. Miss Elaine Costello, Community Development. Elaine, welcome.
Okay, I've been given the same instructions from myself that I have to keep it short, and I'm just going to talk about two qualities that Barbara has brought that we've all enjoyed. One is her great gift for being a terrific companion, and the second is her passion for making a difference and having an impact through her work. And I have to say that I started 13 years ago, and generally was greeted as the kid who'd be around for about 6 weeks by most people. But Barbara was different because she found out that I too was a Bostonian. There aren't too many of us out here on the West Coast. And I've always felt that part of what made Barbara such a terrific companion, at least for me, was that Boston connection. She is the best of the Boston breed. And I mean, she has a stiff upper lip. Show them their stiff upper lip. She's got a great stiff upper lip. She's got a terrific buck up. I mean, she can tell you to buck up with the best of them. But most important for those of us who grew up in Boston is a wicked sense of humor. The ability to quickly, it's a competitive sport, quickly turn any misfortune, any hardship into a funny story. As fast as you possibly can. The worse the hardship, the funnier the story is required to be. Barbara excels at this, and has it made it fun to be around her? Let's hear that. Let me give you an example from the early years. Now, Barbara likes to tell her life story, and one of the things she loves to tell people is that she started at the city as a Kelly girl. People may not know that, but sometimes people in CDD have been known to whine about their jobs, their misfortune, how hard their work, whatever. And Barbara would stand up and she would say, I started here as a Kelly girl. Now, before that, I was a princess, living on University Avenue in one of those really big babies. You've seen them, right? I was there. The next day, I'm a Kelly girl, and I'm doing filing, which I'm not very good at. And now, all I wanted was a permanent job. I have a permanent job. I'm happy. What is your problem? No, this would stop, it stopped them dead in their tracks. No, people didn't know what to say to this, you know, because that, you know, University Avenue to Kelly girl transition's a hard one to get your mind around. So it would lighten up the workplace. Also, I would try and give Barbara feedback occasionally. I gave this up too. Say she had gone on vacation and left me to do a slam dunk piece of art. Consent agenda. That didn't last for more than once. I'm sitting there with Adriana on the consent agenda. Oh, yeah. And all of a sudden, 7 lights go on, and I'm thinking, oh, Public Works is going to be in trouble this time. No, it's our item, and it's referred to as pickup sticks. That this art looks like pickup sticks, and who was the idiot who came up with the idea of putting art in the median? So I come in and I say, hey, Barbs, or there was the time that they said that the first art for the library, which was a gazebo, looked like a spider that would threaten the children. I'd come in and I'd say, hey, Babs, didn't go that well. And she would say to me, what a riot! It's just a riot! And you know what? It's been great to work with somebody who basically wants to lighten up, see life as fun. You know, forget it. No hard luck stories for Babs. Now, one of the other things she is loyal to a fault. She's loyal to all of us. She loves the city. She loves the people she works with. We love her. Where did she learn that loyalty, folks? She learned it from the Red Sox. Yeah. She was born into Red Sox Nation, right? She was born there. This is a birthright. This is no Johnny-come-lately, I saw them in 2004, now I like them kind of stuff. She spent her childhood, as did I, hanging out in the cheap seats at Fenway Park in the humidity and heat. She's earned the right to love the Red Sox. And they lost. They did nothing but lose, but they lost in heartbreakers, right? The more they lose, the more she loves them. Now, how do we know she's going to be loyal to us? Because we know she's loyal to those people. She's loyal. She loves the Red Sox. She'll be loyal to us no matter what we do. Maybe tonight would be the exception. But in any case, just to show you how she spread that lighten up spirit, I'm a pretty, pretty serious person. It might not show. But anyway, I tried to have that veneer. So it's the 7th game. It's 2004. It's the year that we had that. She had the original cartoon and gave it to me, for which I will be eternally grateful. She had it enlarged. The two of us every day paid homage to the 2004 was the year. This is the year. We did not take offense at the way the New Yorkers portrayed the Red Sox fans. So it's 2004. It's Wednesday night. What does she have? A visual arts committee meeting. What's going on? The 7th game of the American League Championship. The Red Sox and the Yankees for whether the Red Sox go forward, right? Where am I? In my office, listening to the game so I can tell her what's happening. So anyway, any of us Red Sox fan will remember, Johnny Damon steps up, right? Hits a grand slam home run. I jump out of my seat. I come into the visual arts committee meeting with my arms raised. I say, Barbara, Johnny Damon just hit a grand slam. I've never seen the two of us so happy. Do you remember that? And I've never seen the visual arts committee so little taken aback. But anyway, that's what I mean. We had fun. Barbara brought fun. She knew what was important in life. There's only going to be one time Johnny Damon's going to do that for the Red Sox because we know what he did next. Yeah. So, but anyway, enough about the good times with Babs. Now I want to talk about, because the other Bostonian quality she has is a real commitment to work. And a real commitment to doing great work. And it took us a little while to make that match, huh, Babs? But anyway, we did. And so I'm going to show you. We have this book that we're going to give you, Barbara, so get ready. Not right now. This really beautiful book that Jessica Von Bork put together of some of your major contributions. Now, originally, we were going to let people sign the book, but then we said, wait a minute, what will Babs say? She will say, who let people write all over my book? So you don't get to sign it. We're going to show it to you real quick. So you've heard about the art. Here's some pictures. But most important, we want you, here's the picture of the library. We're not going to go through this in detail. But here's what we want you, Barbara, in her own words, this is how Barbara thought of her work. Okay, I administer the public art program for Mountain View, and I love it. Now, what does that say? That is as good as it gets. Working with a city that appreciates arts and with a knowledgeable and active art committee is fabulous. I won't go on to even the council part. But anyway, hold that thought. So we took that off before you read that part. So then we get, the next thing that Barbara has done is become a grandmother. The first thing she told me is I want to be a grandmother. I had a 5-year-old at the time. I had a little trouble getting over that. She said, don't you want to be a grandmother? I said, well, maybe when she's not 5. But here they are. David, Johnny, and Aiden, and nothing has brought more pleasure to Barbara or to us. So that's part of her work here. And then, I'm not as fast with this. Here's more art, but I'm going to, okay, I love this. This is Barbara's attitude. People come into City Hall, these are all quotes from the newspaper, by the way. This was all in the press. People who come into City Hall needing permits are not in a good mood, and art calms them down. It's good for the soul. She says, it's like a little piece of pleasure in an otherwise busy day. And that's what Barbara's been for us, a little piece of pleasure, good for the soul. But hold those. Now, party, Barbara likes to party. She, for years, had the CDD Christmas party at her house, and we will not go into that event. It was a good time. Anytime you needed an employee services, you needed somebody to run a party, host a party, work at a party, anything for a good time. She has loved working with us, and she has shown it to us. And we know it, and it has been great. So here she is serving up the Thanksgiving, with Councilmember Neither. Now, here's a little bit of thing on bureaucracy. I'm going to skip right through that. But here's Barb. The toad had a little trouble. She says, the toad is in the hospital and he should recover soon. That is just so Barbara. I mean, she doesn't want, here's her beautiful brochure. And I'm going to kind of, I know I'm running out of time here. And here's the baggage card that's so beautiful. But I love this. Landofthe.coms promotes a .com atmosphere with art. That's bad. That's cute, huh?
I didn't write that.
That's all right. Barbara. Here's this beautiful piece for the... But here's what I love. Now, remember how she loved it and it was fabulous? This must have been another day. Because here's the one she says, you know, they say it's hard to imagine that after all that process, you'd find something you didn't want. But McBride has nightmares about that very thing. If you screw up, you die. Now, wait a minute. I thought it was fabulous. That's the kind of thing that makes me wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh my gosh. I don't think so. I think it's something other than, oh my gosh. But, and then again, here it is. As far as I'm concerned, one Bostonian to another, it doesn't get any better than this. They did win. Thank you, Barbara. Here's your book.
Thank you. This is your book. Jeez, if you screw up, you die. That's a little scary. Elaine is nominally Barbara's boss, and we're always trying to figure out who's boss. I mean,
Me too.
yeah, I know. Who's Elaine? Is Kevin my boss? Well, the mayor's my boss. It's very hard to figure out. You screw up, you die. Speaking of screw ups, can we get is that first slide available with that beautiful ball? We have this great piece of public art. You can see it later on. In fact, many of you will bump into it in your drunken stupor as you head out to the parking lot. Speaking of screw-ups, I mean, when we first got the report on this ball that was going to be, I remember one of my screw-ups was thinking about, we were trying to figure out what piece of public art should we put out at a golf course, you know, statue of Tiger Woods or a golfer, and I don't know, how many of you have seen it? Yeah, well, when I first read the report, I said, geez, 16 inches, isn't that pretty small? I mean, that's not a bit... All right, that died, Barbara. That was... Who got that joke? Okay, all right, cancel that one. And rewrite that joke. Whew. I'm dying up here, man. It's 16 feet, 16... Okay, we're moving on. Next up, Janice Zinn, Chair of the Visual Arts Committee. Come on up, and you have 3 minutes.
Oh, sure.
Elaine.
Go on.
Well, I've only had the pleasure of working with Barbara for 4 years, unlike many of you have known her much longer, as a member of the Visual Arts Committee. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that Barbara is the most valuable member of the team. She seems to enjoy working with art and the artists so much that in the beginning I was surprised to find out she actually got paid to do this. I thought she just liked to hang out with us so much that that's why she came to the Visual Arts Committee meetings. Her competency and professionalism have made our job easier in so many ways. And though she did slack off a bit when the Red Sox were in the World Series, her meeting minutes are so complete that it's like a challenge for me to try and find an error in them. She follows through with every project, from putting together an excellent RFP to gaining approval from the City Council with their ever-changing personalities, and up to the unveiling of the final piece of art. And she has always been our buffer between the often temperamental and usually eccentric artists, which we really appreciate because that's not an easy job. Besides providing all this wonderful artwork for the projects in the city, we are also responsible for the exhibits in the Performing Arts Theater lobby. And Barbara spent countless hours, and no doubt a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, automating that selection process, for which we were all very grateful. It changed our lives as a committee from having to sit for hours and sometimes days locked in the conference room, looking at all the selections, to being able to sit in the comfort of our own home and online look at everything, and then just come to a very brief meeting and vote on it all. That made a huge difference. And while Barbara didn't have a voting official vote on our committee, I know you'll be surprised that she actually offered an opinion. And that opinion was always valued to all of us, and even if we didn't always agree with it. So most importantly, Barbara made working on the Visual Arts Committee so much fun, and her presence is going to be greatly missed, and I don't know how we can replace her. So thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Janice. So, unfortunately, there was a there was a bit of a mix-up. Tomorrow evening I have another event where I'm also roasting someone, and unfortunately the scripts got a little merged, so I can't take responsibility if some of the jokes that I say about Barbara are actually about another person, but you know, we'll see how they go. Well, this is really special. I didn't know that we had an opportunity here from the inimitable, and that's a hard word to say, Mr. Ellis Burns. So let's just grab our chairs and hang on, because this should be fun. Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm not sure. As I was introduced, well, I really wasn't introduced. I was Ellis Burns, but really what's most important is I should be introduced as Ellis Burns, Barbara McBride's supervisor, which is not an easy task. In fact, tonight, I'm going to say this, because tonight, Barbara, you thought this was about you. But it's not, okay? It's about me.